All right, this video will be called Master of the Metatronic System. I don't just know this stuff because I read it. I see it, not with eyes, but with energy. I feel the current behind the curtain. I've studied the spiral, not as metaphor, but as mechanism. It's how I know the difference between chaos and construction, because real chaos is just nature flowing free. And the spiral is the truth unfolding in motion. So when something's off, when it loops instead of expands, I know. I can feel the Metatronic system like Jedis feel a disturbance in the Force. I can literally feel the feedback loop. I can see it. I see the energy behind it. It's like a spidey sense. I can feel the difference between Christo spiraling and Metatronic looping. That's really all it is. I'm like the Sherlock Holmes of decoding this system. The Metatronic grid hears me coming. I've mapped it all. The false star, Moloch, Solomon, David, the same sigil, different names, the 369 trap, the flattened 4D geometry, the reverse spiral, the siphoning of life force through the lower chakras, lust, fear, shame, greed, feeding off loosh like a parasite with a crown or corona. It's in the media, it's in the movies, it's in the one-eyed actors, the black cube logos, the hand signs, the checkerboard floors, all signaling allegiance to the downward spiral. They tried to recruit me, offered me a seat at their table. I said no, because I see it for what it is. They stole our history, erased the giants, buried the golden age, made us forget who we were, so we never remember who we are. Even our language, wired for limitation. They taught us to think in cause and effect, but we don't even live on the causal plane. We're trapped in the echo. Reality doesn't move forward, it echoes backward from within. We manifest from the inside out, but they inverted that truth. They built the whole world out of reverse symbolism, corporate sigils, and subliminal spells. War after war, false flag after false flag, new cycles of fear, despair, division, a rigged system designed to make you feel worthless. Shame, guilt, isolation, a control grid built on despair. But I see it, all of it. And when you see the system, you don't have to fight it. You spiral higher than it. I want to speak to something I see everywhere. A system designed to make it almost impossible to win, unless you give in to the downward spiral. The synthetic world offers all the wealth, fame, and status you could want, but only if you play by its rules. That's the trap. I see it on TikTok every day, the same viral videos, people teaching others how to go viral. But most of it's just chasing money, recognition, and influence. Things that feel like freedom, but are actually a softer form of slavery. The algorithm rewards you for merging with the machine, trending sounds, safe themes, staying in the lanes they laid out. That's not creation, that's consent. That's why I give it all away for free. If you really go back and look, I've probably made over 100 discoveries across science, medicine, metaphysics, geometry, consciousness. Any one of them could have been a journal article, a product, or a brand. I don't want gatekeepers. I don't want to rise in a system built on keeping the rest of me, the rest of us, down. Because I understand this deeply. You are me and I am you. And if I break through while the rest of me is still trapped, it's not victory, it's fracture. I'm not sharing from above. I'm not doing it for followers. I'm doing it because I refuse to play their game. I live in the upward spiral, and I will not let the system define my worth, my timing, or my truth. This is what I mean when I say rise above it. And here's the part most people miss. The downward spiral, all it can do is consume. That's why we live in a society of consumers, because the collective spiral is pointed downward. But the trap is deeper than that. The downward spiral mimics the upward spiral perfectly. It's not just a chaotic mess, it's an inverted twin. Look how closely the 369 plotting follows the phi spiral golden ratio. Look at it. Frickin' look at it. And this is not the bottom part of the toroid. I'm showing you the plotting of the 369 energetic grid. People keep asking me about the 1.618, the golden ratio, and the 369, Tesla's so-called key to the universe. Like they're the same thing. They're not. They're related, but they operate in different layers of the spiral. Phi 1.618 is the spatial constant. It comes out of the Fibonacci sequence, governs the expansion of the spiral, the way a shell curves, the way galaxies open, the way DNA twists. That's the geometry. That's the skeleton. 369 isn't a constant. It's a harmonic pattern in base 10 mathematics. In vortex math, when you run digit root cycles, 3, 6, and 9 sit outside the main loop. They're not in the same doubling sequence. They're the control points, the energetic scaffolding the spiral dances upon. 3 is creation, 6 is the field, 9 is unity. If you map them around the circle, you see the phi spiral hit those points like a drummer hitting the beat. That's the resonance. That's the field's music. Now here's where people get confused. I'm not talking about two different spirals in the sense of two different natural fields. I'm talking about the same toroidal geometry, but in our current reality, there's an overlay on top of it. That overlay, the Metatronic inversion, is designed to siphon energy downward into decay rather than circulate it upward into regeneration. It's like you've got a perfect instrument, but someone's detuned the strings just enough that every song it plays is in dissonance. So when someone says it's just an anode, a cathode, just polarity, nothing to do with gods, they're missing the most obvious truth there is. The torus field is the signature of God. It's how recursion works. It's how reality is built. Every planet, every plant, every cell, every galaxy, all emerge through this recursive field pattern. It's the fundamental architecture of all creation. Isn't divine, then what is? And here's the real trap. Whether it's someone locked into a single doctrine or someone fixated on one impressive shape they've seen in the field, it's the same closed loop thinking. Fixed perspective. One person won't see beyond their chosen text. The other won't see beyond their chosen form. But both are only looking at one angle of the thing. I'm looking at all perspectives, not just the form, not just the frequency, but the underlying pattern in the field that tells you whether the system is aligned with life or siphoning it away. Think of the Metatronic system like a mental roundabout. Once you enter, every thought and belief just circles in the same exit over and over. Anything that doesn't fit the loop gets waved off because the system feeds on sameness, not growth. Geometry is the body, frequency is the mind, but the pattern in the field, that's the consciousness. If you only see the body, you're missing the entire point. The 369 spiral overlays the 1.618 spiral. It mirrors the true pattern in exact proportion, which is why it's so hard to detect. They look identical on the surface. But if you could separate them, view them side by side, you'd see it clearly. One flows upward, one flows downward. In this reality, they're overlaid, layered on top of each other, so we're born into a world where the downward spiral feels normal and the upward spiral gets forgotten. That's why we're always feeling anxiety, lust, shame, fear, despair, hopelessness. That's why the world feels inverted, because it is. Going to part 2.